The ocean is unpredictable. One moment, it's calm enough to reflect the sky. The next, it can swallow every trace of a person without leaving behind a single clue. But sometimes, the most terrifying thing isn't the water. It's the people you find floating on it. This happened only a few months ago, and to this day, I still can't explain what I witnessed. Fishing had become more than a hobby for me. It was an escape. Whenever my friends Dustin, Chris, and I got the same day off, we wasted no time. We loaded up Dustin's boat. We hit the water before sunrise. The cool breeze, the smell of fresh water, the quiet excitement of not knowing what we'd catch. It was peaceful, comforting, exactly what we needed. None of us had the slightest idea. This trip would stay with us forever. About 30 minutes from shore, Dustin went quiet, his eyes locked on something in the distance. "What is it?" Chris asked. Dustin didn't answer. He just pointed. At first I saw a boat, a large one, nothing strange. But as we drifted closer, Dustin's face went pale. Then he said the words that changed everything. "That's a distress flag." My stomach dropped. The orange flag fluttered in the wind, the one signal every boater prays they'll never see. Someone needed help. We eased up beside the massive yacht. "Hello," Dustin shouted. "Is anyone okay?" Silence answered. No movement, no voices, nothing. The yacht looked abandoned, but it didn't feel abandoned. Fishing rods still stood upright. Coffee mugs sat on the table, steam still rising from them. Someone had been here, only moments ago. No phone signal, no Coast Guard, no way to call for help. "If someone's hurt," I said, "I have to check." Dustin hated the idea, but he nodded. I climbed aboard. My shoes hit the wooden deck, and every step echoed through the empty vessel. "I'm here to help. If anyone's here, answer me." Nothing. Just silence, pressing in from every direction. The deeper I went, the stranger it got. The sliding door hung wide open, drawers ripped out, cabinets torn loose, belongings scattered like someone had searched in desperation or panic. Then I saw it. Mud. Fresh, muddy footprints, different sizes, too many to belong to one person. So where was everyone? Only one room left. The bathroom. My heart hammered as I reached for the door. Part of me expected to find someone unconscious, or worse. I pushed it open. Empty? I exhaled and turned to leave. Then something moved. A pillow slid to the floor. I froze. Slowly. An elderly woman rose from beneath the blankets on the bed. She hadn't made a single sound. Her face was pale. Her gray hair hung in a braid over one shoulder. Her skin looked weathered, like old leather left in the sun for years. But her eyes weren't looking at me. They were looking through me. She didn't blink. She didn't speak. Neither of us moved. I raised my hands, slow and steady. "It's okay. I'm not here to hurt you. We saw your distress flag. We came to help." Nothing. No expression. No reaction. Just that hollow, unblinking stare. Something about her was wrong. Every instinct screamed the same thing. Leave. Now. I backed out of the room, never taking my eyes off her. Then I turned and ran. I jumped back onto Dustin's boat, out of breath. "There was someone inside," I said. "An old woman." She wouldn't talk. She just stared. Before anyone could answer, Chris pointed at the yacht. "Look." The old woman had stepped onto the deck, slowly, mechanically. She walked to the distress flag, untied it, folded it, and slid it under a nearby table. Then, without a glance in our direction, she vanished back inside. None of us spoke. If she didn't need help, why raise the flag? If she did, why hide it the second we found her? Nothing made sense. We turned back toward shore, chasing a signal. Nobody said a word the entire ride. I couldn't stop replaying that woman's empty expression. The moment my phone showed one bar, I called the police. I told them everything. The flag, the abandoned yacht, the woman, the untouched coffee, the muddy footprints. They said they'd investigate. But something in my gut told me we couldn't just leave her out there. So we turned the boat around, gone without a trace. Less than 30 minutes had passed. Same calm water, same clear sky, same exact route. We reached the location. The yacht was gone, not drifting away, not moved, gone. No wake, no debris, no trace it had ever existed. We searched for almost an hour. Nothing. Eventually we gave up. Nobody cared about fishing anymore. We went home, still trying to understand what we'd seen. The police never called us back. Maybe they never found the yacht. Maybe they never believed us. But strange things started happening after that day. Within months, I lost my job. My car was totaled. One disaster followed another. Dustin's father said the old woman had cursed us, that sailors have whispered for generations about ghost boats that appear only to lure people aboard. Boats that carry bad luck, or something worse. I don't believe in curses. At least, I try not to. But some nights, I still see her eyes, the steaming coffee, the muddy footprints, people who were clearly there and somehow weren't. And one question still keeps me awake. Who raised that flag? And where did everyone disappear to before we arrived? Some mysteries are never solved. Some boats are never found. And sometimes, the scariest thing isn't what you see. It's what disappears without leaving a single trace. There are places in this world that simply don't feel right. Places where the silence is too perfect. Where nature itself seems afraid to exist. For years, my friends and I thought we had discovered paradise. We had no idea. Something else had discovered us first. I didn't grow up in a crowded city. I grew up surrounded by forests, lakes, and endless outdoor adventures. Hiking, camping, fishing. But nothing compared to being out on the water. I never owned a boat, couldn't afford one. But my best friend, Trevor, could. His family had lived by the lake for years, and ever since we were kids, there was always a boat waiting at the dock. Every summer, that dock became our whole world. We had no idea one of those summers would change us forever. The summer I turned 19, Trevor and I decided to push farther than we ever had. Past the marked channels, past the buoys, past the places our parents warned us not to go. That's when we saw it. An island, small, green, wrapped in a thin gray mist that clung to the trees, even under the afternoon sun. It wasn't on any map, not the tourist ones, not Trevor's father's old charts. Nothing. Probably too small to bother naming, Trevor said. I remember laughing. I remember thinking it looked peaceful. I was wrong. We beached the boat on a strip of pale sand. The second my feet hit the ground, something felt off. No birds, no insects. Not even the wind moved through the trees the way it should. Trevor didn't seem to notice. He was already halfway up the shoreline, grinning like a kid on Christmas morning. "Come on," he said. "Let's see what's here." I should have said no. I followed him anyway. We pushed through a wall of thick brush and stepped into a clearing. In the center stood a ring of stones, arranged too perfectly to be natural. Blackened at the center, like something had burned there recently. Trevor crouched down and ran his fingers through the ash. "Still a little warm," he muttered. I looked around at the tree line, and that's when I felt it. The unmistakable feeling of being watched. I didn't see anyone. I didn't hear anyone. But every hair on my arms stood straight up. We were about to head back to the boat when we heard it. A voice. Low, distant, almost like humming, except the notes never repeated, never resolved into a melody. Just wrong. Tell me you heard that, I whispered. Trevor didn't answer. His face had gone white. The sound moved, first from the left, then the right. Then, impossibly, from directly behind us. We ran. Branches tore at our arms as we sprinted for the shore. I didn't look back. I couldn't. We reached the boat, shoved it off the sand, and Trevor gunned the engine before I'd even climbed fully aboard. As the island shrank behind us, I finally turned to look. Standing at the tree line was a figure, tall, still, watching us leave. It never moved. It never had to. We didn't talk about the island for weeks. Some part of both of us wanted to pretend it never happened. But at night, I heard that humming in my head. Over and over. That same broken, unnatural melody. Trevor started sleeping with the lights on. He told me he saw the figure standing outside his window. I told him he was imagining things. I didn't believe that. Not really. A month later, our friend Danny convinced us to take him fishing. We agreed. Anywhere but the island, we promised ourselves. But the current pulled us off course. A sudden fog rolled in from nowhere, thick and disorienting. When it finally lifted, we were floating just off that same pale shore. Trevor's hands shook on the wheel. I didn't steer us here, he said. I swear I didn't. None of us wanted to believe him. All of us did. Danny, who knew nothing about our first trip, was the first to notice something in the trees. There's someone standing there, he said, pointing. Why isn't he waving? We turned. The same figure, same clearing, same impossible stillness. Then, without warning, it started walking toward the water.
Not fast, not slow, just steady, certain, like it had all the time in the world. We didn't wait to see what happened next. Trevor slammed the throttle forward. The engine screamed as we tore away from the shore, spray soaking us as the boat carved through the water. I looked back one final time. The figure had reached the waterline. It stood at the very edge, and it was smiling. I've never told anyone that detail until now. I still don't know how I saw it smile from that distance. I just know that I did. We never went back. We never spoke of the island to anyone outside our small circle. Danny moved away a year later and stopped returning our calls. Trevor sold his father's boat without explanation. As for me, I still hear that humming sometimes late at night when the house goes quiet. I tell myself it's just tinnitus. I try not to think about what it means if it isn't. Some places aren't marked on maps for a reason. Some islands don't want to be found until they decide to find you first. And some things standing at the edge of the water are only waiting for the day you come back. Some people give you a bad feeling the moment you see them, not because of what they say, but because every instinct inside you is screaming, stay away. For years, I tried convincing myself I was overthinking, but every time I remember that old marina, I ask myself the same question. What if I was standing just a few feet away from a monster? The summer this happened, my boat was more than a hobby. It was my home. I spent nearly every day at a small, peaceful marina where life moved slowly. Most mornings were the same. Wake up to the sound of gentle waves, drink my coffee, read a little, fish until sunset. It was the perfect escape until Buddy arrived. Every chance we got, we escaped out onto the water together. Hours turned into entire weekends floating across the lake. Then one summer, we discovered an island. It wasn't marked on any tourist map. Small, isolated, strangely forgotten. At first, it felt like our own secret paradise. But looking back now, I think it was waiting for us all along. It was a Tuesday morning when I first saw him, standing alone at the far end of the fuel dock, where almost no one ever went. He wasn't fishing, wasn't loading gear, wasn't doing anything a normal person does at a marina. He was just standing there, watching the water, tall, thin, wearing a heavy coat, even though the sun was already baking the docks. I nodded at him as I walked past. He didn't nod back. He just turned his head, slow and deliberate, and watched me the entire way to my boat. "You see the guy by the fuel dock?" I asked Buddy that afternoon. He nodded, jaw tight. "Every day this week?" "Every day. Same spot, same coat. Doesn't talk to anybody." We both laughed it off. Some quiet guy who likes staring at the water, nothing more. We told ourselves that a lot that summer. A few days later, I passed close enough to get a real look at him. His skin was pale, almost gray, like he hadn't seen daylight in years, despite standing in it every single day. His eyes never blinked the way eyes are supposed to, and when I said, "Morning," out of politeness, he smiled. Not a friendly smile, a smile that stretched a fraction too wide, a fraction too long. I didn't say another word to him after that. That same week, Buddy and I took the boat out to the island we'd found earlier that summer. We'd been there a dozen times without incident. This time, as we pulled onto the sand, Buddy froze halfway out of the boat. "There are footprints," he said, "fresh ones, bare feet, leading from the waterline straight into the trees." We hadn't seen another boat on the water all morning. We should have turned back. Instead, stupidly, curiously, we followed the footprints inland. They led to a small clearing we'd never noticed before, hidden behind a wall of dense brush. In the center sat a pile of old sun-bleached clothing, a heavy coat among them. Buddy looked at me. I looked at him. Neither of us said what we were both thinking. We got back to the marina just before dark, both of us rattled, neither of us admitting why. As I tied off my boat, I glanced toward the fuel dock out of habit. He was there, standing in the exact same spot, in the exact same coat, which made no sense, because that same coat, or one just like it, was sitting in a pile on an island 40 minutes away. I don't know what came over me, but I walked toward him. "Hey," I called out. "You all right, man?" He turned his head toward me slowly, too slowly. Up close, his eyes weren't just unblinking, they didn't seem to focus on anything at all. "You've been out to the island," he said. His voice was flat, hollow, like it came from somewhere behind him, not from his mouth. I hadn't told him that. Nobody had told him that. I didn't answer. I turned and walked fast, back toward my boat, heart slamming against my ribs. Behind me, I heard footsteps on the dock. Slow, deliberate, matching my pace exactly, no matter how fast I moved. I didn't look back. I untied my boat with shaking hands and pushed off before the engine had even caught. When I finally glanced toward the fuel dock, it was empty. I called Buddy that night. No answer. I called again the next morning. Nothing. By the third day, I drove to his apartment. His car was there. His door was unlocked. His boat keys were sitting on the kitchen counter, untouched. He was never seen at the marina again. Nobody I asked ever remembered him leaving. I stopped going to that marina after that summer. I sold my boat within the year. Sometimes on quiet nights, I think about that island, the footprints, the clothes, the coat, and I think about the marina, how no matter what time I arrived or how long I stayed, that man was always already there, waiting, watching the water like he was looking for something or someone. I never went back to find out which. Some people don't belong to this world the way the rest of us do. Some places remember faces long after they've left them. And sometimes the most dangerous thing on the water isn't beneath the surface at all. It's standing quietly at the end of the dock, waiting for you to notice it's still there.